Maybe not.
Can we go there?
Kevin in Glasgow? How are you?
Hello.
Oh,
Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
Yep, I'll try not to be too triumphant tonight because obviously everything's been on hold for the last few weeks and Celtic are going for the league tomorrow. I think Neil Lennon should send out the team and go for the juggler. They should be at least 3-0 up after 5 minutes. They've been too respectful from the provincial clubs in recent weeks. Rangers and Kilmarnock have showed them too much respect where we should have steamrolled them. Can I come back to another point, lads, if you want to answer that one?
Okay, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think in the Rangers game, the only team selection I would think that wee Commons instead of Forrest. Apart from that, in any football game, when you get into 10 men, you're up against it. I think you'd be up against it against Rangers even more so, and then you get down to 9 men. So it never went for Celtic that day. They didn't play particularly well. I thought Rangers played better the first half, and that established them for the rest of the game. The cup final against Kilmarnock, I don't think anything was wrong there. And any other given day, I think Celtic maybe to win that 4-2 or something like that. The goalkeeper was absolutely superb. I think tomorrow, if he picks the same team, I think they would win the game.
DJ?
I don't think you rule out Kilmarnock because they've absolutely nothing to lose tomorrow. They're not going to sit back and play one man up. They're going to play exactly the way they've been playing all season. They've already, 3-0 up against Celtic early in the season when Celtic came back. They've beat them in the cup final. So Kilmarnock will have nothing to worry about. But as I said at the start of the programme, Celtic have got it in their own hands. They can win it in front of the majority of the fans at Rugby Park tomorrow. And if the players are not up for it tomorrow, then there's something far wrong with them. That's why I think they will beat Kilmarnock tomorrow.
Kevin?
Yeah, no, I think it was just a couple of game blip there, and I think we'll come on strong. And I think it's not been disrespectful to Kilmarnock. I just think Celtic, if they come out all guns blazing, a la the way Rangers did when the league was in their hands last season, then we can beat every team out there. And I think just in the last couple of games, we haven't played to our potential, we haven't played to our best, and I think it's been a case of we're now there a bit too negative thinking. So if we're positive, then that's the way forward. And I would like to offer my opinions and try and be as positive as much as possible for Scottish football. When we look at the debt the Rangers have possibly managed to accumulate, and we have to say possibly because nothing has been finalised with the tax case. And although, the problem is that no matter what happens or what bill Rangers have to pay, if they have, they're not paid any bill, it appears recently anyway, because there's about 270 odd creditors from bills as small as a few pence up to thousands. So we have to ask, right, that Scottish football has seriously been compromised by the actions of a few individuals. Now, we can talk about Craig White, but the main action I would have to say is Mr. David Murray. And the deal that was done with Ticketus and Craig White, we have to analyse possibly the Rangers being a football club and wanting to sell tickets before. Maybe they'd have done a deal with Ticketus in the past, and maybe there's been a goodwill there between David Murray and Ticketus. But the key point I would have to say is that how Craig White could be given the money to go ahead and buy Rangers and put all that debt onto the back of Rangers when he didn't have control of the club. So we have to be pointing fingers at Mr. Murray for allowing the situation, for not only Craig White to be here, but for the debt that is sitting, if we talk about tangible debt of around 60 million. Now, David Murray turned to the Rangers fans about 8-9 years ago, 10 years ago, forgive me if I got the wrong date, but he asked for 50 million. So this debt that was supposedly being pared down and paid down hasn't been paid down at all. We've been fed a lot of nonsense in all that period of time because that debt, for it to be sitting at 60 million, forget all the tax bill for whatever it is, the bill that has been there, and I would suggest to you that all the figures that they've been saying over years, the true money the Rangers have been getting in the turnstiles has not been, it's been a whole huge shortfall, and that's because Mr. Murray siphoned off parts of Glasgow Rangers into private enterprises where the catering, the car park and various enterprises, so Rangers revenue stream was at almost zero. So
Kevin, I have to stop you there on the basis that factually you don't know the facts at the moment. We can speculate till we're blue in the face with regards to how Mr. Murray run the business, but certainly I have to stop you there and caution on just this point. Quite simply, with regards to the share issue, I think £300,000 might have been the figure that was raised in that share issue. The other 50 million was underwritten at the time, Derek, by Sir David Murray. But with regards to the running of it, one thing that David Murray has not denied is the reckless spending, which in the end didn't get the ultimate prize that I think was the European glory in the Champions League. Mm-hmm. I think after this has all finished, I think Kevin does have one pertinent point. I think a lot of people will start to go back and look at strategically the points of where it all went wrong, who's to blame, and I think they will look at Sir David Murray's tenure and obviously the most immediate one, which is Craig White.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is David Murray was absolutely magnificent for Rangers, Peter, for 15 of the 22 years or whatever he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you've got an awful lot of people that thoroughly enjoyed the 9 in a row and winning the Scottish Cups and League Cups and everything else and all the success that went with it. Everybody believed in David Murray. He was the man. He was the saviour. And then it's gone all wrong because he then started to chase the dream, paying big money for players to bring them in. And none of the fans complained about that at the time. They were just delighted. They thought, David Murray, multi-millionaire, he can afford to do that fine. And obviously the last 8 years or so, it's all gone downhill. It's all gone Pete Tong. So he does have a responsibility to the club. And I'm surprised that he hasn't come out. I know.
Maybe not.
Can we go there?
Kevin in Glasgow? How are you?
hello.
Oh,
Kevin. Hey, Kevin.